Welcome into episode 20 of Ramie and Drew. I am Ramie Mackloff. That is Drew Flaggy. We're a couple Milwaukee-based comedians talking sports, whatever other bullshit might come to mind. Drew, we haven't talked in like 3 days, dude. We haven't done it's Monday, February 19th. We haven't talked since Thursday. How are you? Are you okay? Are we good? Is everything good?
I had a great All-Star weekend.
Did you really?
I pretended to care about most of it. I cared about only one thing, but
which was what?
The 3-point contest. Because that's why I asked you last week about what you think the best competition is in professional sports. It's the home run derby.
Oh, okay.
Which I wish the home run derby would go back to just outs instead of like you get like 10 outs. Because the best home run derby, I think everyone could probably agree, was Josh Hamilton rattling off 26 in a round. That was awesome.
That was pretty sick. I mean, steroids aside, the one at Miller Park was pretty great too with Sammy and Mark McGwire.
Yeah, but like also the home run derby, like even like if you get guys that are relatively like unknown, I guess you could say that. Like shit, who was the guy last year for the Mariners that was like the dude like Rodriguez or whatever? Dude, that was sweet. Mm-hmm. Like that guy was
J-Rod.
He came in with a what? Yeah. He came in with a ton
J-Rod. Yeah.
People were super pumped on him, and then he put on a show. Like the home run derby, unlike the dunk contest, always gets like guys that are gonna put on a show. The dunk contest was crap. Jaylen Brown was crap. There was nothing you haven't seen. And then like I saw a thing of like I don't know if it was like AAU ball or something like that. And like they had like 18-year-olds doing a dunk contest, and it was better than the NBA one. It's like, oh well, that sucks. That like it's just it would be nice if we would get stars back in it.
And you can see the banner down there if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, first of all, thank you wherever you are. We appreciate you. The numbers have been good through 1 month, Drew. 1 month. We made it 1 month, 20 shows. Yay! Drop the streamers. But was it really? I mean, yeah, I know. I didn't see that. I was working that night. I didn't see the slam dunk contest. But like, yeah, some years are bad, some years are good. Like, and me and Bart agree on this. It's one of the few things we agree on, which is like, why does everything every year have to be the best thing ever, or it's the worst thing ever? You know what I mean? Like the slam dunk contest is going to be a hit or miss event. You know what I mean? Based on a lot of factors. I was thinking about this today, Drew. It's like we're both stand-up comedians. It's like a comedy show. Like there are some comedy shows where, you know, one person really hits and everybody else kind of sucks. There are some comedy shows where one or two people hit with the audience and everybody else kind of sucks. There are some shows where everybody hits. There are some shows where nobody hits. You know what I mean? Like, and there are a lot of factors involved: the comics, the audience, the venue, whatever the case might be. You know what I mean? And the slam dunk contest is the same thing, dude. Like there are going to be years where one guy is great or two guys are great or the whole slam dunk contest are great. And there are going to be years where, yeah, it just kind of sucks. That doesn't mean we have to end the slam dunk contest. We have to cancel it or fucking overhaul it completely. You just come back next year and hope it's better.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it goes on the hype train thing where it's, are you excited to see the people that are in it? I think it always comes down to like when it was like Nate Robinson, because he was short, so there was the fanfare of like Nate Robinson being little and like doing it and just putting on an absolute show. Zach LaVine was great when he was doing it, and it's like those were kind of like the good intersection of guys who were well known or they had like kind of a niche or whatever, and it was kind of cool. But it's like Mac McClung, I don't know, Jaylen Brown just doesn't really do it for me. It didn't seem like he did it for anybody, and maybe that was some of Indianapolis like just not liking the Celtics because the Pacers, and we'll get into this. The Pacers have little brother syndrome real bad in the East. Like it is funny how much they dislike the Celtics and they dislike the Bucks, particularly us. And maybe that's my bias by not living in Boston and knowing how they feel about our players. Mm-hmm. But spoiler alert, Damian Lillard crashing Tyrese Halliburton's little weekend. That was my favorite part of the weekend. And that's just as a Bucks fan of being like, nah, screw it. Ruin it for everybody. I don't care. No, it's like, the thing is like, I was on a show last night and I brought up, I was more interested to see like the opening, like the intros for all the players in the All-Star game than to basically watch the open gym that they were about to put on. And the only times I really cared was when Giannis and Dame came back, and that was really it. I was like, all right. And I also found myself as just, being like, I want the Bucks to win a championship. I found myself looking at every player that was in the East outside of like guys that I know aren't going to be a problem in the playoffs, like Banchero and like Scotty Barnes and like those guys. Every time they're like Jason Tatum, I'm like, fuck him, dude. Like, I don't like him. And then it's like Tyrese Halliburton. I'm like, I don't like him. So it's like, but then it's like everybody like Jokic. I'm like, I like him. And then they're like, Luka Doncic. I'm like, I like him. Like, I like everybody, like Steph Curry. I'm like, I like all these guys. Yeah,
it was bad basketball. I mean, the 3-point contest was good. I went back and watched that. I was working at the time. I went back and just kind of fast forwarded through it to see how Dame won it. So I can't say that I watched the whole thing very closely. And we'll get to the game in just 1 second, but the whole Steph Curry, I struggle with her name, man. It's one of those names I just struggle with. It's Sabrina Ionescu. Yeah. I know who she is. I'm not doing the thing where you act. It's just one of those names that I have trouble pronouncing. So please don't jump in the comments like, oh, Ramie hates women. It's just a name I struggle with. All right. But it was a good contest. Like, he beat her by what? 3 shots? Wasn't the final score 26-23? And then Kenny Smith had to ruin the whole thing with like, she should have shot from the women's 3-point line. She was using a women's basketball, so she should have been shooting from the women's 3-point. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Okay,
what are you doing? Which is exactly what the people at TNT were thinking. Just take this man's microphone and just shut him up.
Kenny was the most voice of the audience, I think, out there, because there were no optics throughout the entire night that competition looked good for Steph Curry. There was no way. If Steph Curry blows her out, it looks like he's a dick. If Steph Curry loses, they're going to dance on his grave, and then women should all be in the NBA. Like, there was no winning for Steph Curry. Like, if he dominates, he wins. If he barely wins, it's she hung in there with him. It was like, if she wins, it's like, oh, the greatest shooter taken down. Women are better than men. It's just like, there was no way. And like, I was watching it, and like, I mean, a lot of my friends that were watching it were texting me just like, this doesn't look good. And Kenny absolutely made it worse. But then it's like, I think also like everyone else's reaction also made it worse by them being like, look at the fucking cue cards. Like, don't bring up that she's using a smaller ball. Don't use it's like, don't bring up that the lines are different. Like, don't do any of it. It was a no-win situation. It was like, because I told you, I even texted you, the 2 storylines are.
But I mean, I don't think you're right.
It was more than a thing that it needed to be. Like, it was a fun competition.
You're right that there was.
Did you freeze?
My computer keeps freezing. You're right that there was no real. It did for a second. You're right that there was no real winning for Steph. You know what I mean? Because he was obviously favored to win and everything else that goes into it. I don't think it looked bad though until Kenny started running his mouth or sticking his foot in his mouth. Like, of course she's gonna use a women's ball. That's what she shoots every day. Like, but do you see where, like, dude, Caitlin Clark broke the record from the logo. You know what I mean? Women are they're launching from everywhere in the women's game these days. Like, if there's one thing they can do that is almost on par with men in the professional game, it's shoot from anywhere on the court. But yeah, Drew, you've played sports, like you played baseball, right? And you threw like the same size baseball with the same stitches and everything every day. If somebody just gave you a bigger baseball one day, you'd be like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do with this? Dude, especially if you're a pitcher who's trying to like put spin on the thing. You know what I mean? So those two things have nothing to do with each other, where she's shooting from and what ball she's shooting with.
Yeah, you can so here's the other thing too is like your baseball comparison. You're right though, because it's like have you ever tried to hit a fast pitch softball when you've never had to do it in your life? Like,
Yeah.
everybody I played baseball with, it's hard as fuck because the ball is going up. It's weird. It like the way the ball trails and stuff, it's just different. It's harder to track. And it's like, so I wouldn't expect women who play professional baseball or women that play professional softball to be able to just walk out there and automatically hit a hard ball that's going 95 miles an hour. Same as whatever the fastest or average pitch speed would be for women's underhand softball. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's in the 90s. Either way, that ball is coming at you different. It's weird. It's a different look. It's a different feel. So like, I totally get it. Like, here's what I think they should have done. I would be all for them doing a bracket style thing. Take the best 4 NBA shooters and take the best 4 WNBA shooters and have them do a shootout. And I would say multiple rounds. The Steph Curry versus Sabrina, I think Ionescu, I think that's how you say it.
Ionescu?
I
So
think
you don't really the I is a Y? Is that what it? The I is a Y?
Yeah. It's like the ION is like Jan or something like that, I think. Like that's
okay. All right.
Yeah. I believe, like, I want to say that's how I think I heard them pronounce it. I don't, it's whatever. It's fine. People fuck up my last name all the time too, and it's way shorter than hers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, it's like, I think they should just take, or I do 8 on 8. I would expand the 3-point contest, and I would just do brackets or bracket style. Like Malik Beasley only made 20 points in the 3-point contest. He was the lowest scoring guy, which that gave me flashbacks of Ricky Weeks striking out in the home run derby. That was, it's my guy. I'm like, oh no. It's like, I like it, but son of a bitch. Like when Ricky Weeks swung and missed 2 times in a row in the home run derby. I'm like, yep, that's Malik Beasley up there shooting threes right now. I'm like, that's
pretty terrible.
That's our little guy that probably, whatever, he deserved to be there. But yeah, I would just expand it. I'm good with them eliminating the skills competition. I think that's dumb as hell. I don't like the skills competition. It doesn't feel like players like it. It's weird. It's like a weird obstacle course version of Pop-A-Shot. It's weird as fuck. Like, just have them play Pop-A-Shot. I would rather watch Steph Curry just rattle off 45 seconds of weakly inflated basketballs. Pop-A-Shot would be fun. And like everyone always talks about, just get the best players, and this would be.
It's fine. That's my reaction. That's my reaction to most. My reaction to most of NBA All-Star Weekend is it's fine. You know what I mean? Like I don't expect a lot. People are expecting way too much, and especially from the game itself, from the All-Star game itself. Like there were people offended by what they saw on the court last night. And I like Scott Van Pelt. He's one of the few anchors on SportsCenter that I still watch for. You know what I mean? And he tweeted out don't expect us to care when it's obvious that you don't, or something like that. Like what motive to care about the game or the outcome of the game, or to be competitive out there to enjoy it? Like the spectacle of it, the athleticism of it, Dame pulling up from half court like it's nothing. Some of those dunks that Karl Anthony Towns and some of the other guys were throwing down, I watched that and I just go, wow, that's pretty cool. Most people can't do that. I enjoy there is an entertainment factor to it. I don't necessarily, it would be cool if it was competitive. Don't get me wrong, but I don't need it to be a competitive game that these guys are acting like means something out there for me to find some entertainment value in it. This is just entertainment, folks.
I lurk in the dark corners of the internet, and I'm watching what people are saying. There are so many people that are of the same mindset where they hate the All-Star game so much. I'm indifferent. I don't think it's must-see TV. I cared more about watching the 3-point contest. Like, I actually carved out a part of my day to specifically watch that. And then the Steph Curry thing, because I'm like, how is this going to happen? I carved out more time to watch that than literally any other part of it. Like, I was like, I don't care. It's the same thing as I'll keep going back to the home run derby. I would rather watch the home run derby than the entire MLB All-Star game. And I know I might be weird in that aspect, that I don't want to watch the whole All-Star game. I want to watch when the Brewers have guys in. I'll watch when Trout and Ohtani are in there or something like that. Like, you got a big guy in there that's like just kicking ass. Yeah, I want to go watch his 2 at bats, but then he's sitting down and I don't care anymore. It's just like, whatever. Right. And it's cool. It's like every team gets a player that goes out there. I think it is bullshit in the All-Star game, for baseball, when like you have like one player on your team and like you have like a dog shit team and you have a middle reliever that's your only guy. And then he doesn't even get to trot out there. He doesn't get to wear your team hat in front of the nation. And then it's like, so my all-star from my crappy team didn't get even to be showcased. I think that's lame. I think that they should get at least like to throw a pitch or something. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever. Let them go. Make it a 12-inning game. I don't give.
What if they let them run the bases afterwards, like they do with little kids at American Family Field? Like, you get to play today. Run on out there, champ.
Yeah. He gets to run the base, like have a relay race or something. They get to like race something. That'd be fun. Yeah, no, I see all the people that get mad about the All-Star game, like they're not trying out there. And then these are the same people that are bitching that they're like, well, I want the Bucks to win a championship and they got to be healthy. And it's like, okay, so what do you want Giannis to do? Do you want Giannis to go stand in the way of Karl Anthony Towns in a meaningless exhibition game, take a knee to the chest, fracture a rib, and now all of a sudden he's out for 2 months? Is that what you really want? No. I would rather it like the way Charles Barkley, I think, said it before. I think it was before the 3-point contest. He was talking about All-Star Weekend just being a celebration of basketball, and that, there's like just over 400 players in the NBA, and that, it's like out of all the thousands of people around the world that play basketball, those are like the 30 guys who just get to be recognized as the best of the best in the Premier League. Yeah, I don't want any of those guys to get hurt. I don't want, as much as I bash and make fun of like Jason Tatum, I don't want Jason Tatum to get hurt in the All-Star game and then the Bucks play the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, but the Bucks beat the Celtics without Jason Tatum. Like, I don't want that narrative because he got hurt in an exhibition. That sucks. It's like everything you do is in question if all the best players get hurt. It's lame. So it's like, let them have their fun. And also, no one made anybody watch. It's fine. It's, if you don't like it, it would be better if there was more competition. It would be better. I admit that I think it sucks. Like, the game sucks. I watch it. I'm like, oh, yeah, Giannis is playing again. Cool. He subbed in. Nice. I like that. And then Giannis sits down and I'm like, all right, well, now I'm going to go get a beer, I guess, because I got other shit I can do. I can go throw in laundry now. Like, I'm not riveted by it, but also it's like when
I saw a lot of people who were like, just stop playing the All-Star game. Just cancel the All-Star game. They don't even need to play it. And it's like, what? Because you don't like it? Like, which is like where we are. You know what I mean? Like, if something doesn't appeal to me, then just do away with it. Like, no, man, there are people out there, myself included. Now, I wasn't like, like tied to my television while it was going on. I was probably scrolling Twitter or whatever while the game was going. And I'd look up and I go, oh, that was cool. And then I look back down at my phone. You know what I mean? But like, it held some entertainment value for me.
I would say the skills competition is lame. That is by far the worst part of All-Star Weekend. And they kind of talked about it on the telecast. I would agree. This would be so much more fun if they just did like a long line, like take all 15 All-Stars and just play a game of Lightning. That would be fun. That would be so much fun to watch. Because you got guys like Giannis who can't make a goddamn free throw, and you put Damian Lillard behind him, so he's got to take his 14 seconds to shoot this ball or he gets eliminated immediately. You got like the shooters, you got guys with clunking balls, and then it's like, what happened? Dame missed a free throw, it clanks out, he's got to go and take a step back 3 or something, and then play a game of horse or something. Like, that would be fun with all the All-Stars.
Game of horse would be fun. A game of horse would be very fun.
Let Luka Doncic do something crazy and throw a ball up there and drain it and be like, all right, idiots, now you guys try. It's like, and then also Luka having to be like, you get a letter. And also horse is spelled differently in a lot of those guys' languages. So they might be playing with a longer alphabet. You don't know.
That is true.
I don't know.
You never know.
I don't know how to say horse in Greek.
I got some good stuff in the Bookmark Club. I want to get to that in just a second. But do you think there's any, real good All-Star weekend for Dame? He wins a 3-point contest. He wins the MVP. He's pulling up for half court shots. You think there's any carryover? Do you think the real Dame Lillard wakes up after All-Star weekend?
I hope so. I've been getting more and more frustrated with watching what he's like. Again,
Yeah, you have.
I'm not ruling him out. It was nice to see him having fun playing basketball. Like it looked fun for him. And it's like, that would be like, they're going to start playing defense on you again, just so you know. But like,
yes. Yeah, there will be defense.
So and again, like I said at the beginning of the show, watching Damian Lillard take the 3-point contest from Tyrese Halliburton and then
hilarious.
Watching how sad Tyrese Halliburton was when Damian Lillard got named MVP and the camera was on him. And then so mad. Like I
don't think I was paying attention at that point.
Dude, Pacers fans are so aggro about this. Oh my God, they're like obsessed with us. They're so fucking mad because they're like, yeah, well, we beat you in the in-season tournament. It's like, cool, and you also lost that. And it's like, and now we came to your house, we took your dumb little fucking trophies. It's like, if Damian Lillard would have taken the 3-point trophy and spiked it on the ground in front of him and been like, yeah, bitch, like that would have been awesome. He's not the kind of guy. But the way like Tyrese tips around whenever he does anything, he's like, "Oh, hey, look at me! Oh, I'm the great." Yeah, all right, Oshkosh, zip it. Like it's whatever. Go win something now. Go win a championship.
Did you see the suit that he was wearing when he showed up for All-Star I think it was Saturday night for the 3-point contest, and it had like fur. It had what looked like they killed Cookie Monster and made a jacket out of like it just had fur bands around like the bicep.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. If you're gonna wear that, don't go to Barnes and Noble and start reading kids. How about that? Like, no. I'm just messing around. It's not political.
All right. I hope there's some carryover. I hope there's some momentum. I hope there's some all-star momentum for Dame and the Bucks. Did you see what Shaq said to Dame afterwards when he was sitting with the TNT crew?
I did, and I'm happy that Shaq said that. That like because Shaq's right.
Same.
He's 1,000% right about that. Oh, it's like, yeah, because, okay, it's like, you know who else is maybe going to catch some flack? It's not just going to be Doc, Dame, and Giannis that catch it. Horst is going to catch it because a lot of people are mad at Horst for all of his trades or his inactivity at the deadline. And then I also do think that Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis will hear some of it, too, if they lose. I don't necessarily know that Brook Lopez hears it. Beasley is probably coming out unscathed. Connaughton's going to get roasted like Connaughton does. Like, it's whatever. But, like, I think it's going to fall down on – I think Middleton is as big of a part of it as everyone else, too. But it's going to be the main two nationally, Dame and Giannis.
Yeah. That's locally, what I was just going to say is that I think Shaq was talking more about the national narrative. Like, if you watch the Bucks every day, you know that there's more to the issue here than just Dame. And you also know that Giannis has not been the issue, and if anything, has been the MVP of this league to this point. But yeah, he basically said, "You two guys need to tell everybody else to shut the fuck up and get in line and quit being so nice about everything and quit deferring to everybody like you two." Because it like you just said, Drew, his main point was at the end of the day, if this doesn't work, the only people that are going to catch flack are going to be Giannis, Dame, and Doc Rivers. So you guys need to take the bull by the horns and really lead this thing and stop being so nice about it.
Yeah, I agree. There's very there's no fat on that one. That's 100%. No, he
said it like this. He said what I just said, but he said it like this.
Yeah, he said it cooler. No, he's right. And Dame knows it, but like it's probably better to hear it from those guys, especially the TNT guys, because they're more honest and I think they're more knowledgeable and their takes are smarter. Even Kenny's are smarter than everything you get from everybody else, the ESPN and ABC guys and stuff like that. You're going to get a better gauge of how the actual people who think the Bucks, like what they actually think about the Bucks are from Shaq and Chuck than you're going to get from fucking Michael Wilbon. Like, you're not getting that from Stephen A. Smith. Like, you're not getting that from those guys. So it's whatever. It's like, listen to Shaq and Chuck. Like, they do know what they're talking about, especially Shaq being a guy who was in the finals multiple times. Like, he knows. He was around Kobe. He knows. Like, it's just, Shaq was an absolute dominant winner in his career. And it's like, that's the last thing Dame has to do is get a ring. So
I love that TNT crew. But Kenny had a rough all-star weekend. Not just the Sabrina Ionescu stuff, but did you see when Jaime Jaquez Jr. was? I didn't see it. I didn't see what he was doing. I just saw like somebody post the quotes. He brought out like Mexican themed props for in the dunk contest, and Kenny Smith was like, "What's up with all this Mexican stuff here?" And somebody was like, "He's Mexican, Kenny." It was a rough weekend for Kenny Smith over All-Star weekend. It doesn't take anything away from him. He's still great. That old crew is great, but rough weekend for
in the skills challenge. Scotty Barnes pulled the ball off of his leg going around one of like the obstacles.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
It just went out of bounds. That was Kenny the whole weekend talking, just dribbling the ball off his knee, just out of bounds, unguarded. No pressure, and Kenny was just, it's like, you're doing too much, man. You're just doing way too much.
All right, let's get to, I said we'd do this every week, and I haven't done it in a couple of weeks. It's Ramie's Bookmark Club, because Oprah has a book club, but I don't read books. I read Twitter, and I just bookmark stuff that I think will be funny for us to talk about on the show. And Drew, it's been so long that I've had this in the bookmarks since before the Super Bowl, and this is, we'll listen to it. So Brock Purdy, people noticed he looks like Lee Harvey Oswald, and somebody had the balls to actually ask him about that at the Super Bowl press conference and what he thinks of that comparison.
Lee Harvey Oswald circling around the internet right now. People think he's looking like, did you ever hear that before? I haven't. That's my first time hearing it. Yeah. What do you think about that? I don't know.
I asked him, what do you think about that comparison? Like, he was coming out of the draft and people were comparing him to like a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's a presidential assassin. What is he supposed to think about that comparison?
Allegedly, the FBI killed JFK. Okay.
I forgot about that.
Thousands of hours of the Joe Rogan podcast to not believe that he acted alone. Are you kidding me? You're telling me
I'm sending this clip to a very specific friend of mine.
Was wrong about who killed. He had Oliver Stone knows a guy. Oliver Stone made the movie JFK, and he was wrong, apparently, about how many people killed JFK.
Regardless, that's not a comparison that's useful to Brock Purdy or anyone else, and certainly not something that you ask him about.
It's just like saying you look like. Ramie, you have a joke about how somebody asked you if you were Post Malone. That's not comparing you to Post Malone. That's saying you look like Post Malone.
But if somebody asked me, what do you think about that comparison? I'd be like, okay, like, what do you want me to say about that? Like, I also, you actually were with me a few weeks ago. A woman thought I was, or I don't know if she asked me or if I was, or just said I look like Lin-Manuel Miranda. Remember that?
Yeah, that was weird too. But it's like, it's weird when somebody asks you a question when they're like, "Are you or do you just look like?" It's like, you can cut out the first part of that question. The answer is no. I'm not that person. I ain't him. I'm more why would
Lin-Manuel Miranda be in Janesville? Why would Lin-Manuel Miranda be at a bar in Janesville? You know what I mean? That's not happening.
I'm more like Jason Tatum than I am Lin-Manuel Miranda because I ain't him. You know, that's. See, we got to do Tatum slander. That's my bookmark club, is slandering Jason Tatum. On the off chance
just a couple more things.
Fans listen to this.
Oh, that's my phone. Just a couple more things. Well, I have the video up of Draymond threatening to stab somebody, but that's not very useful if I'm just playing it from my phone because I can't share things from my computer. But yeah, the video is really funny. Justin Garcia from the Bucks radio network tweeted out this little factoid. He said, "I'll preface again with 8 games is not a large sample size, but since January 24th, the Bucks have the 8th best defense in the league, a 113.7 rating. 5 of those 8 games are against a team with a top 10 offense during that stretch." And Drew, this goes back to what I've been saying, and I quote tweeted that with a similar sentiment, but this is why I'm not too worried, because I know that Chris Middleton is eventually coming back. I'm pretty sure Dame Lillard didn't forget how to shoot a basketball. If this defensive turnaround is for real, then the Bucks are a problem for the rest of the NBA, because if they can play defense like this and the scoring gets anywhere near what the ceiling is for the scoring, it ain't going to be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be a problem. Like, and that's why it's so frustrating. And, you know, Giannis has been saying this for years now, that it's all about, after every loss, it's about building good habits. And right now, especially in January and now halfway through February, they haven't looked offensively like they have good habits. And they trended downwards in the good habit department since December. And that's the issue, where it's like, you can say we got to continue to build good habits. It's like, no, you guys got to have a game that's, I'm not going to call it flawless, but no dumb turnovers, no unforced turnovers. Brooke is constantly looking for the ball, but then you hit a pick and roll and Dame hands the ball to you in your chest and you're not ready for the fucking thing. It's like, dude, that's just not being in sync with your guy. That's not expecting the unexpected. You know, it's not expecting that I'm going to get the ball, because like it's the same thing as, you know, everybody that when they always would say Damian Lillard, the offense needs to run through Damian Lillard. And I always ask for what the definition of that means. And it basically boils down to, everybody seems to believe, that brings that up, that Damian Lillard should be shooting 40 shots a night. And that's not logical to shoot 40 shots in a night, because that means other people aren't getting shots.
No, but minimum 20. I said before, 20 to 25 should be the minimum for Dame Lillard on a given night.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can dip below that, you know, sometimes, because like if you're getting fouled, like, because, you know, then it removes the field goal attempt. But it's like, if you would just go, if they had like a true like amount of times that he actually shot the ball, getting fouled, even with a no call or something, or getting a call, like, it's nice to be able to see how many times did he make an attempt to score the ball. And that's what I want to do. I want 20 attempts at scoring, whether he gets an and one or he gets fouled and they remove it. I don't care. I want to see him going up with the intent to score more times and not defer to so many other dudes. But that does mean those other guys, I get spreading the ball around and you want everybody to kind of get involved and stuff. You want to get Bobby Portis in a rhythm. You want to get Pat Connaughton in a rhythm. You want AJ Green to be in a rhythm right now with the way he's been shooting. You want Beasley catching and shooting in rhythm. And that means those guys got to get to their spots. They got to shed screens. They got to get around, and Dame has to be finding those guys too, but not at the detriment of Damian Lillard also getting hot, because the amount of, like, they always show the stat, you know, like however many games we've won when Damian Lillard scores 25 points, the thing they don't bring up is that Giannis is also scoring 25 to 35 in those games too. So the game is going to go as our second best scorer right now is going to score. It's got to be Dame. Chris Middleton can go off for, you know, a 30 piece, but most nights, 9 out of 10 nights, it's got to be Damian Lillard. He's got to be scoring.
Yeah.
And he can obviously.
That's why you brought him here. I mean, that's why this ain't hard to figure out. And somebody, one of the Bucks people I follow, tweeted this out. Like, sometimes things are real simple and we tend to make them complicated. Like, if Dame is Dame and Chris Middleton comes back and looks anything like Chris Middleton, and Giannis keeps playing the way that he's playing, like, this will be fine. Like, and for people to just write off a Dame Lillard and think that, you know, he's washed, or he's unhappy here in Milwaukee, or whatever the case might be, like, is do it at your own risk, because it sounds pretty silly to me.
Yeah. Well, only complicating things how we got into this in the first place with the team's record, or that defense overly complicated for what Adrian wanted them to do. And then remember, like the first 5 games that we watched under Doc Rivers, or it wasn't even Doc Rivers, it was Joe Prunty, and it was just defense was similar. It was just, it didn't need to have so many moving parts. Just stick to your guy, simple screens, put guys back in the position where they excel. That's all they had to do. Overcomplicating things is absolutely the problem. At the end of the day, the ball just has to go in the goddamn hole. That's all it is.
Oh, I meant we as fans. I meant we as fans watching overcomplicate things. We're they got to do this, they got to do that, they got to fix this, they got to fix that. Dude, when in December, when Dame Lillard was scoring the way that he can, this was the best team in the NBA, and that was with Adrian Griffin. You know what I mean? We as fans overcomplicate things in terms of watching something and seeing a lot more there, a lot more problems there that need to be fixed than what actually just needs to be fixed. And not to say they shouldn't play better defense or whatever the case might be, but the main problem is they brought Dame in here because he's one of the greatest scorers ever, or certainly of his generation, and he hasn't looked like that. And when you're missing that offense, it's hard to win basketball games. It really can be that simple.
Yeah. Well, and that's why so many times, when I would get into those, the little debates with some of our friends and stuff about all of this, I never said that Dame was bad or washed or anything like that. I was bringing up his box scores specifically because it's when they were he's not getting the shots, he's not scoring. It's well, no, he's getting the shots. He's missing a majority of them. That's the problem. And that's the knock against him, where it's you are getting your shots and you are not making them right now. That's what it was. It was never, don't think he can break out of it. It was never, he's damaged goods. It's never any of that kind of stuff. It was straight up just he's getting the looks that he needs to be getting. Giannis is deferring to him more and more.
And he wasn't hitting them. Yeah.
And he's just not hitting them.
But there were also times where, and I saw somebody put together a whole reel of these on Twitter, where Dame had shots and instead, he looked for the open man and dished it out, whether it was a teardrop or he, shook his man on the 3-point line and had the mid-range open, where he's had shots and he's deferring. And I think that's going back to the Shaq comments. I think that's part of what Shaq was talking about of, you don't have to be so nice. You don't have to make everybody feel just because you're the new guy that you're trying to ingratiate yourself to people. And whether that's on the court with the way that you handle and distribute the ball, or off the court, if you need to have some hard talks with some people about, hey man, I need to, have a bigger impact on this game than you do necessarily. That's my job and that's my role. And that's what they brought me here for. And you need to get in line with that. You know what I mean? Dame you're right. He's gotten good shots and missed them. He's also just flat out passed up on plenty of good shots this season, because I think he's trying to defer to other people and not rock the boat being the new guy here in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be trying to fit in a little too much.
Yes.
And that's fine. I would rather him care about fitting in than not wanting to be here, because it was the same thing as why Giannis said he signed the contract. Every time they lose a game, they were going to have a picture of Giannis with his hands on his hips and just being like, is Giannis out of here? Is he going to get traded to Golden State this summer, Ramie? If Giannis available, he might be going to Golden State, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the newest one.
That was funny. Yeah, I don't know in what world Giannis is going to be available this offseason.
Sign the contract and just remove that doubt. It's well, Dame, the way you fit in here is you become the assertive scorer that you always were. That's all it is.
Hey, I wanted to bring up one more thing. I want to bring up one more thing that I bookmarked before we wrap this thing up, Drew. You've told me on a number of occasions that you're a big Malcolm in the Middle fan. You watched Malcolm in the Middle, but I like the show too. Sure. Did you know this? I don't know if you can see this on your screen. Frankie Muniz, that's another name I struggle with. I don't know if he did or not, but this article from the AP that I bookmarked, he was trying to qualify for the Daytona 500, I think. I don't know how NASCAR works. I was reading this article
Yep.
and just lost. Did you know he's a race car driver? That Malcolm in the Middle is a race car driver now?
Yeah, I actually did know that he was like into racing. I didn't know that he was into NASCAR, but I thought he was doing some like smaller stock car stuff. Like
He was. He's stepping up.
Cool.
He's trying to move up a level, I guess.
So what I do know is that Frankie Muniz also had like a weird heart condition, like when he was in his 20s or something like that. Like he's got to be, I think he's around my age now. Like he's got to be what,
he's 38. It says in this article he's 38.
Okay. So he's 4 years older than me. Yeah, he had like in his like 20s or something like that. He had like a weird heart thing. It kind of sounds like it was whatever Chris Bosch might have had. I might be wrong, but I thought I heard something about him having like a heart thing that was like really detrimental to his health. So that's cool that he can actually go and race cars.
Yeah,
now.
It says here, Muniz. Am I saying that right? Muniz. I'm having trouble with names today. Who competed in the entry-level ARCA series last year? That's what you were talking about. Will try to make his Xfinity Series debut in the number 35 Ford for Joey Gase Racing at Daytona. So I think that means he was trying to like qualify for like the big leagues.
Cool. That's cool. Good for him.
Also, if I remember correctly, I interviewed Joey Gase a few years ago at some racetrack that we were doing the big show from.
Yeah, I know Frankie Muniz was also I think he was in a band too. I think he was like a drummer for like a little indie band or something like that.
Good for him, man. Living his best life.
He's done well, yeah, besides the fact that he had like heart problems, I think. But that's cool for him. I like that. He's a celebrity that I don't think ever got into any shit. He seems like a cool. I love this show. Well, here, I wanted to bring up two things. First of all, did you see the other debate, the MVP debate, the way it's been flipped now? Now that
no, I don't think I have.
So they started talking about how they believe that now the NBA or the MVP should just be determined by the best player on the best team in the NBA. So that would mean Jason Tatum is the MVP this year. Hey, who was the best player on the team with the best record last season? And that was not a qualifier.
Why are we just moving goalposts, man? Or in this case, basketball hoops. Why are we just moving the goal on or the standard on how we decide this stuff? The gymnastics, the mental gymnastics that people are going through to not include Giannis in these MVP discussions. And did you see? I tweeted something about this. I'm at Ramie is tweeting. He's at Drew F is on fire. LeBron the other day talking about who's going to be the faces of this league when like him and Kevin Durant go away. And he named like 3-4 guys who I love. Like he mentioned Ant-Man and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and somebody else. I forget who it was. And just completely left Giannis. And while I'm at it, left Jokic off the list too.
And Luka.
Just skipping right over these guys to name the next face of the league and to find different candidates for MVP. Dude, you have a superstar right here in front of you who's got like, and I know like the language barrier is there. English is not his first language, but still, man, like he has every trait and every characteristic that you want in a superstar and a face of your league and an MVP, and why people keep trying to find a way to not crown him that. Fucking, it's insane, dude. And it's one of the few things in sports that genuinely makes me angry.
Well, I think they also wanted Ja Morant to be the next face of the league. But then we all know how that all happened because he has Instagram and we all follow him. That fucked that up for him. There is also it's kind of shame on the league for not promoting other guys that are great, like De'Aaron Fox. Like I'll go to the Kings.
Yeah.
Why are we not? Can casual NBA fans, can they just name me the 5 starters out or the other 3 starters outside of Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox? Can you name Sabonis got snubbed? I think he's the snub from the All-Star weekend.
Him and Fox, I thought should have made it.
Yeah.
Hashtag light the beam, baby.
Yeah. But it's like all those guys, it's like, why are we not looking into these smaller market teams that have a lot of talent? Like there's talent all over the league. Like even like after Kevin Durant's gone, if you want to go that route, okay, look at Go look at Devin Booker, I guess. Like, I'm not a big fan of Devin Booker, but he's pretty clean. Like, he hasn't done anything necessarily wrong. I mean, he couldn't close out in the finals because his team is not good. But that's just whatever. There's plenty of players around. Like, I know they want to have Jalen Brunson. Like, why not Brunson? Why not try to start pushing Brunson? He's a great story, in the NBA. Why not Halliburton? I could give you a million reasons why not Halliburton, but why not try it? Like, why not try to push these guys, the Pacers and stuff? They're a young team with a decent core. They just got Siakam. They got a guy.
And it's surprising to me because I've always thought that the NBA was like head of the class when it comes to this marketing their superstar stuff. You know what I mean? It's why the league has grown the way that it has, and I think they do a better job of it. Still, even though we're criticizing them here today about it, I think they still do a better job of it than both Major League Baseball and the NFL as far as pushing their individual superstars out there and making them stars and making them household names. You know what I mean? But yeah. I feel like not the same energy goes to Giannis as it does other top tier upper crust stars, which he is certainly one of. You know what? We're talking about a guy who has 2 MVPs in the championship.
Well, and so another thing too that is hard to talk about with like Anthony Edwards. I love Anthony Edwards. I think he's awesome.
Same.
But he did get into that little thing where he was playing video games online, and I think he called a kid queer or something like that. And it was a little bit of a social media issue. Like
but you know what he did? You know what he did that like most people don't do was he didn't like make excuses or anything. It was just like, hey man, I fucked up and I got to be better. And that's the response when you do something like that. You know what I mean? Instead of like getting offended that people are offended and getting defensive or blaming cancel culture, he was just like, yeah, that was not cool, and that's not who I am. That's not who I was raised to be, and I got to put in the work to be a better person. But that's to me, that's the perfect response. And I feel like that's why it blew over. And a lot of people listening to us or watching us right now maybe don't even know what you're talking about because it blew over so quickly. And I think that's why, because he handled that perfectly.
So, and like the way I look at it though, is like, there are some people who I think are always going to look to find something on these guys when they start becoming the face of the league. And that is a great thing that I will say about LeBron, as much as, we like to hate the guy who's on top all the time, but LeBron for 21 years now, 21 years, I think, has been
his whole life. His whole life. Like, cause he's been in the spotlight since high school. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. Okay. So since he was 14, so I mean, more like 2/3 of his life, he's been in the public eye. And the biggest black eye to his image was him doing the decision where he just free agent went to a different city. And the only reason that was such a big deal was because he was from Akron, Ohio. Other than that, like, there was nothing on LeBron. There is nothing on him. He hasn't done
There's no dirt.
And it's like,
I know people are like, yeah, but he should have said something about China. They're listening right now. He should have said something about China, though.
Because Giannis has Nikes also.
Right.
So it's like all of those guys. Like, it's like what? So now we're only gonna listen to the players that wear Adidas. I mean, I'm all for that. But like, no, it's just
they got some stuff going on too, from what I understand. Like, good luck finding like good luck finding morally sourced sneakers in today's world.
Shoes are like diamonds, okay, guys? They are they're very expensive, and they're only conflict free if you choose to believe they are. They're
all right.
No,
on that note.
Okay. No. I actually wanted to bring this up also for the Brewer fans. Okay.
Oh, you got Brewer stuff.
Brewers are getting set to re-sign Brandon Woodruff.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
I like it. That's it. I like it.
I like it too. I like Big Woo. He's a great dude. I'm not trying to name drop. I mentioned before that I interviewed Joey Gast, a NASCAR driver, but I talked to Brandon Woodruff a couple of times at Brewers spring training, where you get more access to the guys at spring training than you do probably at any other time during the season. And both with the mic on and with the mic off, Brandon Woodruff just hands down one of the coolest dudes in that locker room. I don't know how he got the nickname Big Woo, but it's a great nickname. I'm a big Brandon Woodruff. I'm a big Brandon Woodruff fan, and I like that, man. I like that they're bringing him back for him and for the team. I think it's a good move.
The way it looks, for the people that don't know, it looks like he won't be pitching this year. They're bringing him on a 2-year deal, what it sounds like, and he'll be immediately instated into the 60-day IL, and then that doesn't impact the 40-man roster. So he'll be able to be retained and paid by us, and then hopefully next year he can pitch for us again.
I'm just happy for him, man. I'm happy because he really like put down roots here in Milwaukee, like with his family and everything else. So the fact he doesn't have to, uproot everything and go and try and find a new job somewhere, I think this is best case scenario for Brandon Woodruff, and that's the thing that makes me happiest about this whole thing.
Also, it was gut wrenching when he realized he wasn't going to be able to pitch in the playoffs in that interview. I can also say that, so you met him at spring training. I ran into him at Ian's Pizza on Blue Mound.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, on a weird, I don't know, it's like
Drew just dropped out. Hold on.
There was just one afternoon, my girlfriend.
You dropped out there for some. You dropped out there for some reason for a second. Go back. You met him at which pizza place?
Ian's Pizza. It's a Milwaukee, Wisconsin favorite there. Ian's Pizza on Blue Mound.
Oh yeah,
right by dugout 54 in Kelly's bleachers. And my girlfriend and I, we were moving her out of her apartment, because she was moving into a different place. And after we did all the cleaning and making sure that the apartment was ready to, for the inspection so she could get her security deposit back, we're like, let's just go to Ian's Pizza. It's quick. It's easy. We walk in there, we order our pizza, and we're standing there in this big black pickup truck with matte rims just show up in mud tires. And this dude in just shorts and camo Crocs walks out, and he's just got a big red beard. And I'm kind of looking, I'm like, that looks like Brandon Woodruff. I was like, that is. And he comes in and he had 3 stacks of pizza, just big pizzas just ordered. And, I'm kind of looking at him, and then everyone else is kind of is that cause it's right by the stadium. And this little old lady goes, excuse me, are you Brandon? And he goes, yes, ma'am, I am. And she's like, I love the way you pitch. And I was like, dude, I swear to God thought it was you. And everyone was like, oh, it is him. Everyone had a sigh of oh my God, it is Brandon Woodruff. And he goes, man, you're wearing a Brewers hat. I assumed you knew who I was, but it took that young lady. It was so cool. I was like, oh man, he was talking to everybody about his favorite pizza. His favorite pizza.
That's the same as my. That's the same as my Lin-Manuel Miranda story. Oh, that's a good one. That's the same as my Lin-Manuel Miranda story, except he was him. He is him.
Yeah.
Unlike me and Jason Tatum, he is him.
Yeah, right. Brandon Woodruff legit had just nothing but nice things to say about Milwaukee. When he was just standing in a pizza place middle of the afternoon on a day the Brewers weren't playing. And he was like, I'm just going to house these pizzas. And it's nice, dude. He was so cool. I'm so happy that they were able to bring him back and reach an agreement and at least show him some good faith. Because the Brewers are gold medalists in the bad faith Olympics all the time. And it's so them to actually do something good faith and be like, all right, thank you for your service and everything you did for us. Let's take a chance that you're going to get healthy. I hope it works out for him. That would be a great comeback story for him, at least. If he can get back on the field. So that was a
I think we should. It is. I like ending it on a happy note. Especially, this has been frustrating. There have been technical difficulties throughout this podcast. Editing is going to be an interesting process for your boy. And if you've hung with us throughout this entire episode, despite those technical difficulties and whatever it might sound like after I'm done editing, we thank you. We thank you for all the support. We're 20 episodes in. Bart told me on the first episode I should hardwire, and it took me 20 episodes to get frustrated enough that I think I'm going to go ahead and hardwire pretty soon here, Drew. And dude, 20 episodes in, the reaction has been great, both in terms of the numbers when I'm walking around town or I'm out and about and people tell me that they've caught a little bit of it. So we do appreciate y'all and the support. Tell a friend so we can keep on growing this thing and maybe make a little bit of money here in the near future on the Ramie and Drew podcast. We thank you and we appreciate you. And Drew, I will talk to you again tomorrow. We'll do episode 21 tomorrow, my friend.
Yeah, we got to think of something. We got to maybe ask some of our comic friends to come on or something, because we got no sports up until we got nothing until Friday.
Yeah, I was going to ask you after I hit the end recording button, who you might want to talk to tomorrow. I had some ideas too, so maybe we'll cook up a guest for you for episode 21. Stay tuned to Ramie is tweeting, and at Drew F is on fire on Twitter, and as the scroll says at the bottom there, find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and thank you, and we'll talk to you again. This has been Ramie and Drew.
Yeah.